Tonight, all the news from D23, Jimmy Olsen gets his own show, and Dungeon Caller Carl gets showrunners. Plus, we remember Hayden Panettiere, Leslie Parrish, and Shelley Fabares. All that and more on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. Welcome to Multiverse Tonight, your source for geek news. We dissect films, games, comics, and much more, bringing you insightful commentary on pop culture. This is Multiverse Tonight. Now, here's your host, Thomas Townley. Well, hello and welcome to episode 272 of Multiverse Tonight. I'm, of course, your host, Thomas Townley. And while I'm waiting here at home personally for our solar panels to get installed, still waiting. Luckily, it's a cool day, but I do have something we can talk about right at the top here. It's a little commentary. Ooh, ah. And my commentary tonight is about my take on the Strange New Worlds season 4 so far, and why it's just losing me. First off, it's kind of ditching the core formula, Gotta be honest, season 4 of Strange New Worlds is just leaving me in the cold. The main reason I'm so disappointed is that they've completely thrown out the episodic setup that made the first 3 seasons so good. Instead of giving us solid sci fi stories and actual character growth, the show is feeling just like it's chasing novelty with a weekly gimmick. So, what genre are we doing this week? Secondly, the whole genre homage gimmick. Instead of real exploration or grounded sci fi, every week feels like it's leaning way too hard on cheap tropes and stylistic gimmicks. Week 1 was a Wild West story. Week 2, horror. Week 3, comedy, I guess. Week 4 was a crime noir type show, and week 5 was wacky puppets with puppets built by Jim Henson's Creature Shop. On third, where are the character arcs? And don't get me started on canon. That's just, I can't go there. Relying so much on genre parodies really makes me wonder where the show is even going. Is there an actual, big picture narrative here? Or just floating from one random homage to another without doing any more development on these characters. Plus, consistently bringing back to Pring is seriously messing with canon. She's supposed to be this huge, shocking reveal in the original series' episode Amok Time, but in Strange New Worlds, practically everyone, Scotty, Uhura, Chapel, maybe even Kirk, has already met her. Since all these characters already know who she is, it totally flattens out and ruins that dramatic punch of her showing up in the original series. Now, honestly, the weekly shifts are so absurd and detached that I wouldn't be surprised if they pull a lazy cop out at the end. You know, they all wake up and say, "This is just a collective dream." You know, that was a weird dream I had last night. I dreamt we were all puppets. Really? I dreamt we were in a crime noir novel. Really? I had this nightmare about us being in a horror story, being on this ghost ship. Are we at this point? We can only hope that that's what happens. But then they've just wasted 10 episodes. At the bottom line, at the end of the day, season 4 trades real Star Trek storytelling and genuine character moments for flashy genre of the week gimmicks. By prioritizing gimmicks over a coherent narrative and constantly stretching established canon, especially with the Pring, the season just feels disconnected and hard to care about. Now, if they had a 20 episode season to sprinkle some of these episodes among, perhaps it would be better. I mean, sure. But so far, it's just not doing it for me. Yeah. And then season 5, of course, is going to be truncated. So basically, it's just going to be a wrap up movie. So I just, I've, yeah, I was pulling for the show. I was hoping that they could stick the landing, but it looks like they're going to, fall flat on their face. Please, please, Strange New Worlds, prove me wrong. Anyway, let's go on to the Disney and Marvel news, and Star Wars. So we'll go like this.
Roger, roger.
And we begin Marvel, Star Trek, Disney Newsorama with the annual Disney fan convention, D23, showcasing the cast for Marvel's upcoming X-Men film, a fresh trailer for Avengers Doomsday, and an initial glimpse at the Vision Quest series headed to Disney Plus. Also, Star Wars enthusiasts were treated to a teaser trailer for season 2 of Ahsoka, alongside an exclusive preview of Star Wars Starfighter starring Ryan Gosling. Additionally, reveals featured updates on Pixar, The Simpsons, Bluey, and much more. Starting off, Disney is delivering a long-needed refresh to Tomorrowland. Specifics remain extremely scarce as the initiative is only in its early development. However, this section of the park has fallen into neglect over time, marked by several attraction shutdowns and an overall dated feel. Imagineer Emily O'Brien shared with the LA Times, quote, "We drew inspiration from Walt Disney's vision of Tomorrowland as a gateway to Marvel's worlds, truly channeling the hopeful spirit that anchored all his ideas," unquote. Matt Groening has hinted that Simpsons Hit and Run could be returning. During D23, in response to a question regarding a potential follow-up to the beloved The Simpsons Hit and Run game, oh, that was a great game, folks. You had to be there back in the day. That was just fun on a bun. Matt Groening remarked, quote, "I believe the original title is returning in some fashion," unquote, before current showrunner Matt Selman interjected, "or perhaps not." Their tone and nonverbal cues implied Groening might have inadvertently leaked unannounced information. Now, the original game debuted back in 2003 alongside across PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, and Windows. Although it can be configured on current PCs, it remains unavailable on modern gaming consoles, and it's absent from both the PlayStation Plus Classics catalog and the Xbox backward compatibility program. It might simply reemerge as a direct re-release. Alternately, a few high-definition remasters presents an exciting possibility. Re-recording dialogue wouldn't be necessary given the stellar work by the original voice actors. Now, mindless drones, head back to your ugly families. Pixar will be exploring supernatural themes in Ghost Market. We were offered only a fleeting preview of the upcoming Pixar movie planned for a March 2028 release. Was known is that focuses on Oahu, a lunch spot serving departed spirits, and a protagonist named Kyle who accidentally gets drawn into a paranormal journey. Disney is also developing an anime adaptation of Kingdom Hearts. The Square Enix and Disney Kids have partnered to adapt Sora's saga into an animated series featuring an original narrative storyline. Specific details remain sparse, though it is confirmed that franchise creator Tetsu Nomura is participating in the project. Kingdom Hearts is officially approved for debut animated series. The teaser for the Bluey movie renders Keepy Uppy in styled 3D animation. The acclaimed show is now headed to the movie theaters. Now, the signature 2D aesthetic has been swapped for generic 3D digital animation style. And following typical studio patterns, we will likely see an uninspired live-action reinterpretation in roughly a decade. Now, they did preview Ahsoka Season 2, and Star Wars Starfighter. The second season of Ahsoka is still months away, but Lucasfilm capitalized on D23 by offering a preview. The studio released the debut trailer ahead of its January 20th, 2027 premiere. The footage reveals a grittier, sorcery-infused direction for the franchise, featuring Grand Admiral Thrawn calculatedly threatening to plunge the galaxy into an open conflict following the Empire's collapse. Meanwhile, Ryan Gosling took the stage during D23 to promote the upcoming Star Wars Starfighter feature. While footage was screened, it was restricted to attendees and has not been officially released online. Unverified leaks, however, have circulated on social channels. though public viewing shouldn't be far off given Star Wars Starfighter is scheduled for theatrical release on May 28th, 2027, featuring Matt Smith, Aaron Pierre, Maya Goth, and more, alongside Ron Gosling. Continuing on, there was a fresh Avengers Doomsday trailer, which spotlighted Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom as the MCU advances following the positively received Spider Man Brand New Day. Disney brought Kevin Feige, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Haley Atwell on stage at D23 to debut the latest trailer for the Avengers installment, slated for release on December 18th. There was also a debut Vision Quest trailer, which reteamed Paul Bettany and James Spader, this time in real life. The Disney Plus series launches on October 14th and is a conclusion to the WandaVision trilogy. Vision Quest revealed the lead character dealing with his identity conversing with Ultron, manifested in a human form, seeking out his potential son. Marvel also unveiled that the new X-Men ensemble includes Indy Navarrete and Adam Driver. The new MCU X-Men's actors on stage at D23, with the introduction of Sadie Sink as Jean Grey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. The studio announced the main cast for its untitled X-Men film, planned for release on May 5th, 2028. Now, given the distant time frame, release shifts still remain possible. Besides Sink, the ensemble included Kit Connor as Scott Summers, Christopher Abbott as Charles Xavier, Samara Weaving as Emma Frost, Maya Boyd as Storm, and Indy Navarrete as Rogue. Now, Navarrete arrives following a breakout performance in the hit thriller Obsession. The team faces Nathaniel Milbury, who also known as Mr. Sinister, played by Adam Driver. So Adam Driver gets a second bite at being evil. Or is that third? Or is that fourth? He's really good at being evil. Maybe it's the nose. Kingdom Hearts will feature in Disney's D23 Expo in August. The gaming series will have a dedicated Saturday session. Square Enix previewed Kingdom Hearts 4 during a Nintendo Direct. Sora is making headlines again. Square Enix teased the next installment in the Kingdom Hearts franchise, though details still remain sparse. Titled Kingdom Hearts 4, it's coming to the Switch 2, PS5, Xbox, and PC. With no confirmed release date, it represents the first main title since Kingdom Hearts 3 back in 2019. That wasn't the sole Kingdom Hearts update from Nintendo Direct. For those who missed past titles, the first three games are being compiled into a single collection for Switch 2, launching October 8th. A playable demo for Kingdom Hearts 3 is available now. At the Disney Experiences Showcase in the Anaheim Honda Center on that D23 Saturday, major reveals included Villains Land, Piston Peak, Tropical America's Land, Avengers Campus expansions, Monstropolis, a Coco attraction, Disney Cruise Line fleet growth, and a Tomorrowland redesign. Here are the key takeaways from that showcase. First up, the Villains Land Magic Kingdom expansion, characterized by Walt Disney Imagineering President Bruce Vaughan as, quote, our most anticipated project to date, unquote. The villain-themed expansion at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom will be called Villains Land. The area will be built on a similar scale to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and will incorporate dark architectural design, dining, shopping, and environments starting at an entrance framed by a fractured wishing well. Its key elements will include rides such as a roller coaster set inside Maleficent's fortress and a dark boat ride exploring the reverse side of the Magic Mirror. Positioned behind Big Thunder Mountain in Magic Kingdom's upper left quadrant, reaching towards the Haunted Mansion. Now, this was first teased back in 2022, and active construction has been going on for quite some time. Glenn Close appeared in character as Cruella de Vil to pitch the attraction for herself, though Disney did not confirm development. Next up, the Frontierland expansion, the Cars Zone in Piston Peak. Magic Kingdom's Frontierland is getting an area based on Pixar's Cars franchise, replacing Rivers of Tomorrow and Tom Sawyer Island with Piston Peak. A detailed scale model of Piston Peak was displayed at the event floor. The two main rides compromise uh, Cars Ridge Run Rally, an off-road rally ride traversing terrain leading up to a snowy peak and descending past geysers to a final straightaway, and Miss Fritter's Daredevil Spin-Along, Demolition Derby ride anchored by an animatronic of Miss Fritter from Cars 3. Mark the film's 20th anniversary, Disney revealed a companion series, Cars Lightning Racers, debuting on Disney+. Next at the Animal Kingdom is Tropical America's Land, succeeding Dino Land USA, where work began in fall 2024. Tropical America's Land introduces Pueblo Esperanza, a South American village surrounding a plaza fountain and dining hall. The area will feature three main attractions: Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent. Set in the 50s, riders will explore a Maya temple guarded by mythical creatures before descending into an underworld portal. Harrison Ford confirmed via video that he modeled for the ride's Indiana Jones animatronic. Antonio's Fiesta de Encanto will include original voice talent, guests board vehicles modeled from casita furniture traveling to Antonio's rainforest bedroom. The family-friendly ride will include 50 animal figures, and the El Carousel de los Amelatos, a new carousel featuring 22 hand-carved figures, including Pua, Nigel, Encanto's Capybara, and Eeyore. Oh no. Also at Disney's California Adventure, Adventures Campus, and Coco at Disney California Adventure. Adventures Campus will be doubling its size with the pathway connecting to Cars Land set to reopen as construction progresses near the Quinjet. Two Marvel attractions are also planned for 2028: Infinity Defense, a multiverse adventure where riders assist adventurers against King Thanos. Pre-show briefings starring Miss Marvel alongside Jeremy Renner, Anthony Mackie, Chris Hemsworth, and Robert Downey Jr. There's the Stark Flight Lab, a flight simulator attraction starring Anthony Mackie, Robert Downey Jr., and Brie Larson. Additionally, a boat attraction themed around Coco will be added near Pixar Pier. Built without a height restriction, the ride follows Miguel visiting a museum dedicated to Hector Rivera before journeying to the land of the dead. Imagineers are collaborating with Pixar to align the ride narrative with both the original movie and Coco 2. At the Hollywood Studios, Montropolis Land and replaces the Muppets section at Disney's Hollywood Studios and will launch next year. Highlights will include a show at the Globe Theater hosted by Mike and Sully, the Elite Scares Club, the Scareporium, and Harryhausen's restaurant featuring an octopus sushi chef animatronic. Suspended door coaster, a coaster system accelerating 40 feet in 4 seconds before sending riders through the door vault. Also, classic attractions are getting updated. The Carousel of Progress will be reopening in late spring 2027. The attraction will span from the 1960s to present day and star Bryan Cranston and Jamie Lee Curtis as the parents. The Tomorrowland revamp will see a revamp prioritizing open layouts and new attractions. Meanwhile, the Disney Cruise Line fleet growth, they announced a mid-sized ship class debuting in 2029. Prior to that, the fourth Wish class ship, Disney Believe, launched next year featuring Tinkerbell with Woody and Buzz and Moana. CEO Josh Damara revealed the ship following recent additions, including the Wish, Treasure, Destiny, and Adventure. At Disneyland, the Dreams Come True show returns in February alongside the original World of Color and Magic Happens parade. At Disneyland Paris, Space Mountain will return to its original theme, De la Terra a la Luna, following the Hyperspace Mountain's closure in 2027. A new boat ride will retell The Lion King is also in development. And Tokyo's Disneyland Space Mountain will be replaced by Earthrise. Next spring, the park will launch Sugar Rush Sweet Rescue, a Wreck-It Ralph ride featuring Jack McBrayer. And at Epcot and at Animal Kingdom, Spaceship Earth will receive a narrative update. Journey into Imagination will restore Figment and Dreamfinder animatronics. And Expedition Everest, the Disco Yeti, is being replaced by an active animatronic. At Hong Kong and Shanghai Disneyland, Hong Kong is building a Marvel expansion centered on a Quinjet platform and Spider-Man labs, while Shanghai will complete its dedicated Spider-Man land. Disney distributed its theatrical schedule for 2028 and beyond. Notably, Ghost Rider, starring Ryan Gosling and directed by Sean Levy, is scheduled for release on July 28th, 2028, following a prime summer window. Searchlight Pictures shifted its horror project Monitor to April 16th, 2027. An unannounced Disney project adjusted its release date from February 18th to February 11th, 2028. And their films include Pixar's Ghost Market, March 10th, 2028. Disney's live action Tangled, March 31st, 2028. The X-Men movie on May 5th, 2028. A Disney animation project called Clay, November 22nd, 2028. Black Panther 3, December 15th, 2028. An untitled Disney movie is set for November 9th, 2029. And Coco 2, November 21st, 2029. Also, in other Star Wars and Marvel news, the Star Wars and Marvel universes are set to cross over for the very first time in the comics. Launching in January 2027, Star Wars Marvel Hope Assembles is a 5-issue limited comic book series that aligns the 50th anniversary of George Lucas's original 1977 film and will be written by Kevin Smith with art by David Marquez. The storyline introduces classic Star Wars characters, including Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Chewbacca, to Earth 616, the main continuity of Marvel Comics. There, they will team with iconic heroes such as Captain America, Spider-Man, Black Widow, and the Hulk. At the same time, Doctor Doom and various Marvel villains will join forces with Darth Vader and the Galactic Empire. Reflecting on the project, Smith shared, "Back in the early 80s, I subscribed to Marvel Star Wars comic books. While following Luke, Leia, and Han was great, I always wondered about Spider-Man and Doctor Doom crossing into the world. When given the chance to tell the story, I jumped at it. I'm thrilled to write Hope Assembles for Star Wars 50th anniversary." So there you get, folks. Let's hope he gets them all done on time. HBO Max, and let's go on to the DC Comics news. And get me a drink of water while we're at. HBO Max has officially handed an 8-episode series order for a half-hour comedy spinoff centered on Jimmy Olsen. Developed by DC Studios and Warner Bros. TV, the long-gestating project is titled The People vs. Gorilla Grodd, borrowing its name from the widely shared meme format. Framed as a true crime mockumentary, the series stars Skylar Gisondo in the role of Jimmy Olsen alongside Jimmy Tatro as Gorilla Grodd. The debut season focuses on the titular DC antagonist, a telepathic primate whose powers originated from an interaction with an extraterrestrial spacecraft. Originally conceived by John Broome and Carmine Infantino in 1959, the villain most recently made live-action appearances in the DC Arrowverse. Creative leadership is helmed by Tony Yacinda and Dan Perrault, the duo behind Netflix's 2017 satirical hit American Vandal, who serve as showrunners, writers, and executive producers. Yacinda is also set to direct all 8 episodes. Joining them as executive producers are DC Studios co-chairman James Gunn and Peter Safran. Let's go to the Star Trek news. The 60th anniversary of the Star Trek franchise is coming up at us at warp speed, officially landing on September 8th, 2026. Fans from across the globe are getting ready to salute Gene Roddenberry's space fantasy institution in whatever way feels right. The festivities actually knocked off earlier this year at the 2026 Rose Parade, and things are only going to pick up steam as we move into the fall. We're looking at 40th anniversary screenings of Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home and 30th anniversary tributes to Star Trek First Contact in November, alongside a whole galaxy of retrospectives and events. William Shatner's massive contributions to the Star Trek universe are basically infinite, and he's headed to the historic celebration by co executive producing a brand new documentary about the show's legacy and impact. Titled The 60-Year Mission How Star Trek Changed Television and the World, the film is set to launch exclusively in Regal Cinemas starting October 9th, 2026. It's produced by William Shatner, The 60-Year Mission lands in theaters and will be written by Mark A. Altman, who also did The 50-Year Mission, and Michael S. Bruder of Galaxy Pictures. The documentary will focus on the unique creative genius and epic struggles that led to the birth of the original series back in 1966. Altman told Deadline.com, quote, "This film is a love letter to Star Trek." Unquote. He's grateful to Regal for giving fans this gift for the 60th birthday, and he's sure the movie will appeal to both hardcore Trekkies and new viewers trying to understand what the hype is all about. The documentary really digs into how this seminal show against all odds completely changed the game for sci-fi on TV and became an instant classic. It's packed with archival footage and new interviews with original series legends like Shatner, Koenig, and Takei, alongside visits with Rod Roddenberry, Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, Gates McFadden, Ethan Peck, Robert Picardo, Christina Chong, and Denise Crosby. In a statement, Bruder, who is thrilled to bring the film to theaters alongside Shatner and the franchise's biggest stars, said, "We couldn't be more excited to partner with Regal. And since No Birthday is complete without a party, they're playing exclusive Q&As with the talent at various locations. Except for the pilot, Shatner played James T. Kirk in all 79 episodes of the original series, building a massive connection with the audience. His involvement in this documentary at 95 years old really gives us the whole perspective and whole project a special luster. Again, the 60-year mission is set to dock at Regal Theaters on October 9th, 2026. Now let's go on to the geek news. Dungeon Crawler Carl has named its showrunners. The Peacock series, adapted from Matt Dinniman's science fiction lit RPG novels, received a straight-to-series order in June. The Peacock drama series, which was the series from Chris, will star. Let's try this again. Dungeon Crawl Carl has named its showrunners. The Peacock series, adapted from Matt Dinniman's science fiction lit RPG novels, received a straight-to-series order back in June. Chris Yost and Eric Heiserer will serve as co-showrunners. Yost was previously attached as showrunner for writer for the project, produced by Seth MacFarlane's Fuzzy Door and Universal Global Television. He has worked on feature films, including Thor and its sequels, served as executive consultant and writer on The Mandalorian and various Star Trek projects. Heiserer served as showrunner, second executive producer, and creator of Shadow and Bone, and wrote the Netflix film Bird Box and the sci-fi thriller Arrival. His original screenplay Mysteria is set up at Amazon. Dungeon Crawler Carl takes place after an alien invasion destroys much of humanity, forcing survivors to compete on a televised galactic game show. Veteran Carl finds himself paired with his ex-girlfriend's award-winning show cat, Princess Donut, as they navigate monsters, alien threats, and an erratic AI to survive. Jeff Hayes, narrator for the audiobook, will be voicing Princess Donut. Yost and Heiserer exec produce it, alongside Seth MacFarlane, Eric Huggins, and Rachel Hargreaves Hill. A third film in the National Treasure franchise is officially moving forward after receiving screenplay approval. Director John Turteltaub announced the project during a live broadcast of the National Treasure Hunt podcast in Philadelphia, confirming that the new entry will star Nicolas Cage. Turteltaub shared, quote, "I was thinking about mentioning this tonight. I'll say it tonight. It's happening. You are the first people I have said this out loud to," unquote. With Disney approving the draft, pre-production is now underway, though Turteltaub offered a humorous caveat, quote, "It's finally real. Now it's Hollywood real, meaning things can happen. Nick gets hit by a bus, there's no natural treasure. If I get hit by a bus, there's probably a national treasure. Welcome to Hollywood. That's Hollywood," unquote. Now, the original two feature films grossed over $800 million worldwide. Following this 2027 sequel, Disney Plus released the spin-off series National Treasure: Edge of History in 2022, starring Catherine Zeta-Jones. And finally, tonight, we say goodbye to those who have passed on. Hayden Panettiere, recognized for her roles in Heroes and Nashville, died at the age of 36, according to ABC News. A representative shared in a statement, quote, "We deeply mourn the loss of Hayden. He was a radiant presence who brought joy to her family, friends, and fans worldwide." The Greenville County Coroner's Office said in a statement that emergency responders found a woman in cardiac arrest on Sunday afternoon at an apartment complex in Greenville, South Carolina. The woman was later identified as Miss Pantiera. The cardiac arrest was caused by an apparent drug overdose, a person with knowledge of the situation told the New York Times, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss a continuing investigation. On an audio recording of the Greenville County Fire and Emergency Management's online feed that roughly matches the time and location of the death, someone reported an overdose and said that CPR was in progress. The Drug Enforcement Agency, Administration, and federal agency that enforces the nation's laws regulating controlled substances joined the investigation into Mr. Pantiera's death, a person familiar with the investigation said on Wednesday. According to a heavily redacted report released by the Greenville Police Department, emergency workers attempted to perform life-saving methods for an extended amount of time before declaring her dead around 2:30 p.m. And during an autopsy, no signs of trauma were discovered that would have contributed to the death, which said the cause of death was pending. The police said a preliminary investigation did not yield evidence of foul play or suspicious circumstances. In addition to television roles, Pantiera appeared in films such as I Love You, Beth Cooper, Scream 4, and Scream 6. She shared a daughter, Kaya, born in 2014, with Vilmer Klitschko. Her brother, Edgar Jason Pantiera, passed away in February of 2023 at the age of 28. Earlier this year, she published her memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning, detailing her experiences as a child star and personal struggles. Ahead of the book's release in May, the actress spoke with the Hollywood Reporter about her biggest revelations from the book, including if she told people she would be writing about the personal stories. Quote, "I wanted to share my story authentically without disparaging others," she said. "I was fiercely protective of people in my writing. I felt very strongly about my ability to tell my stories and make them entertaining enough to put in a book without having to drag people through the mud. I had members of my team that I would bounce ideas off of or ask their opinions about things like that I was writing." Unquote. She noted consulting close confidants while maintaining ownership of her narrative. Pantiera gained prominence playing Claire Bennett on Heroes starring in 1996 across 4 seasons and subsequently starred in Nashville from 2012 to 2018 and also played Kirby Reed in the Scream franchise. She garnered the more fame playing Gillette Barnes in the series Nashville, then has Kirby Reed in the Scream horror franchise. In her memoir, she also opened up about the struggles with Nashville, specifically how Juliet's storyline started to resemble her own personal strife, such as her character's postpartum depression and alcoholism. Her career began in early childhood commercials, expanding to series like One Life to Live, Malcolm in the Middle, and films like Remember the Titans. She told Entertainment Tonight back in 2023, quote, "My introduction to acting was actually at 11 months old. Play School Toy Train was my first commercial, but I don't know if that would really be an introduction to acting because I don't think acting was involved at that point. I didn't have lines, I was just playing." In Pantiera in Scream 4, Everett, she also shared her favorite experiences, also working on 2000's Remember the Titans. She also shared her favorite experience was working on 2000's Remember the Titans. She fondly reflected on her time filming Remember the Titans as a highlight of her career. Again, Hayden Pantiera is dead at the age of 36. Too soon. Next up, Leslie Parrish, the actress who brought the love-struck Daisy May to life in the musical Little Abner and famously wore the activating Queen of Diamonds dress in The Manchurian Candidate, has passed away at the age of 90. Parrish, a resident of Washington, died late in 2025. According to Erica Bourdain, the daughter of Parrish's second husband, Jonathan Livingston Seagull author Richard Bach. News of her passing only recently reached the press. Her cinematic journey includes starring as with Vic Morrow in Portrait of a Mobster in 1961, and playing alongside Kirk Douglas in For Love or Money in 1963, and appearing with Jerry Lewis in 1966's Three on the Couch. Sci-fi fans will also remember her for two standout 1967 roles as the Enterprise archaeology officer Carolyn Palmas in the Star Trek episode Who Mourns for Adonis, and later appearing as Glacia Glaze, the frosty henchwoman to Eli Walchuk's Mr. Freeze on Batman. Stepping into the polka dot blouse for the 1969 film Lil Abner, Parrish took over the Daisy May role originally played by Edie Adams on Broadway. Reviewing her performance at the time, Bowsley Crowther noted she filled out the character generously. The production saw many of the New York cast move to Hollywood, including Peter Palmer as the title character, Julie Newmar as Stupefying Jones, and director Melvin Frank. In the high-stakes thriller The Manchurian Candidate in 1962, Parrish played Jocelyn Jordan, whose tragic fate is tied to a hypnotic trigger. She often cited Jocelyn as her personal favorite character to portray. Transitioning behind the scenes, she worked as an associate producer on Jonathan Livingston Seagull in 1973, though creative friction meant she only received a researcher credit despite her heavy involvement in staffing and bird care. Her 1981 marriage to Richard Bach saw her become the muse for his famous spiritual works, One and The Bridge Across Forever, before the two eventually divorced in 1999. Born Marjorie Helen on March 18, 1935, in Massachusetts, she moved to New York in the 50s to model and notoriously spent hours as a test subject for the technicians developing color TV at NBC. After early gigs in Daddy Longlegs and the Opposite Sex, she adopted her stage name Lily Parrish for the Lil Abner film after being told her real name was unmemorable. On Batman, she first appeared as the starlet Dawn Robbins, and her 1960 television credits grew to include Perry Mason, The Wild Wild West, and Mannix. She also was a passionate anti-war activist. After finishing a day on the Star Trek set in 1967, she joined thousands in a peace march that ended in a violent clash with police. She famously stated in 1968, quote, "An actress deals in emotions, arguing that she should be conscientious of the suffering of the world." Her activism led to her organized peace concerts, protests at the 1968 Democratic Convention, and helped found KVST-TV, a community TV station in Los Angeles, California. She was also married to lyricist Rick Marlowe from 1965 to 1966. When Bach faced financial ruin in the 80s, she used her personal savings to reclaim the rights to his books from the government. Later in life, she found great pride in her conservation efforts, donating land to protect 168 acres of forest and wildlife habitat in Washington state. She said it was a dream come true and will surely, more than any other work she's ever done, be the accomplishment that outlasts her. Leslie Parrish passed away at the age of 90. And finally tonight, Shelley Fabares, the quintessential TV daughter from the Donna Reed show, who famously held her own against Elvis Presley in 3 films and redefined the sitcom wife on the sitcom's Coach, passed away at the age of 82. Fabares died in Los Angeles this past Saturday following a short illness. She is survived by her husband of over 40 years, MASH star Mike Farrell. Quote, "Cheryl was a pillar of strength, humor, and grace for everyone in her circle. Whether as a wife, stepmother, or loyal friend, her generosity and warmth left an indelible mark on those who knew her, always making people feel truly seen and valued," said a statement from her. Said an official statement from her family. In the original run of One Day at a Time, Fabares pivotally ditched her good girl image to play the biting Francine Webster. Interestingly, her aunt, the legendary Nanette Fabre, also guest starred on the show, appearing as the mother of Bonnie Franklin's character. She also delivered a poignant performance as the wife of Brian Piccolo in the celebrated 1971 TV movie Brian's Song. For 8 seasons on the Donna Reed show, she portrayed Mary Stone, forming an iconic TV family alongside Reed, Carol Bentz, and Paul Peterson. While her character eventually headed to college, the Stones expanded their household by adopting Trisha, played by Paul Peterson's actual sister, Patty. She even conquered the musical charts in 1962 with Johnny Angel, a track that hit the top of the Billboard Hot 100 after she introduced it on the show featuring a young Glenn Campbell on guitar. Joking in 1983, she recalled the frantic studio sessions where background singers carried the load to capitalize on the show's massive success, saying, quote, "I can't really sing at all, so there was an immense amount of overdubbing," unquote. She once humorously remembered a live TV disaster where her record skipped while she was lip syncing, admitting, quote, "I think I just went into a total coma," unquote. Later, she earned 2 Emmy nods for her work on Coach, playing the independent TV news anchor Christine Armstrong, who married Coach Hayden Fox. Reflecting on the role, she noted how Christine mirrored the modern struggle to balance a thriving career with a loving marriage, a dynamic she shared with her real life husband. While NBC flirted with a Coach revival back in 2015, the project would have killed off her character, but it never moved past the initial pilot phase. Born in Santa Monica in 1944, Fabregas started modeling as a toddler, which quickly paved the way for her original television career. As a young girl, she was already appearing in specials with Frank Sinatra and acting in films alongside stars like Rock Hudson. She eventually appeared in the 1968 series Annette, starring her longtime close friend Annette Funicello. In hindsight, she often championed Donna Reed as a powerhouse who deserved more credit for being the actual guiding creative force behind her own series. During a reunion, she recalled Reed calming her nerves by joking that she couldn't dance or act herself, even though she was referring to her performance in the classic It's a Wonderful Life. Laborious eventually transitioned to film, starring in surf-themed flicks and teen musicals with the likes of Fabian and Peter Noon. Her trilogy of films with Elvis, Girl Happy, Spin Out, and Clambake remained a highlight of her career. And she vividly remembered the sheer aura Elvis possessed, recalling that the entire set would just fall silent whenever he walked into the room. Though the counterculture movement of the late 60s briefly stalled her career, Brian's song provided the necessary spark to bring her back into the spotlight. She spent the following decades guest starring on series from Mannix to Mork and Mindy, while also carving out memorable spots on the soap parody Forever Fernwood. In October 2000, she underwent a critical liver transplant after being on the transplant list for years. Fabregas and Farrell married in 1984, years after first crossing paths on a television set. Their dynamic was a perfect match. She lightened his serious mood, while he provided a grounded presence for her. Farrell once noted that Shelley loved people saying a more fun-loving side of him that was often hidden by his public activism. Quote, "Mike is never casual about anything, but he grounds me," she said, describing their relationship as a beautiful and complementary mix of temperaments. She is survived by her stepchildren, Aaron and Michael. And again, Billy Fabregas is dead at the age of 82. And that brings us to the end of our show for today. Now we're at Multiverse Tom. And that brings us to the end of the show for today. We're on the social medias. You can follow us at Blue Sky, at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. Find us on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram at Multiverse Tonight. If you've enjoyed the show and want to support us, please head on over to multiversetonight.com and access our Patreon and Ko-fi pages, explore show notes, browse our TeePublic shop, and so much more. We also would welcome your reviews and ratings. For those tuning in for the first time, we thank you very much and welcome you to join us. Be sure to subscribe and pass the show along to others, friends, family, bitter enemies. I don't care. It's all good. Special thanks to Hot Dope for providing the intro theme song and Al Lobo Loco for the outro music. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. We'll return in 2 weeks with more sci-fi and comic book news goodies. Until next time, please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2026. All rights reserved.